Today we're going to be talking about DSGs. So Mason, what does DSG stand for?
Dual sector gear.
And what is a dual sector gear?
A dual sector gear is your final drive gear or sector gear that has, instead of teeth on one side interacting with the piston, it has teeth on two sides interacting with the piston.
So in theory it helps cut the cycle time in half.
That's correct, that is correct.
Awesome, so what are some pros of this upgrade?
Oh, real quick trigger response, ungodly rate of fires, utilising smaller barrels, mainly that kind of scenario.
What are some negatives of that upgrade?
A lot more maintenance,
Yep.
a lot more, what do I call it? Stress.
Yeah. So obviously at that higher performance, all of your parts are going to be under more stress, meaning
Yep.
that you're going to need to perform more maintenance
Yep.
and you have a higher potential for parts to break.
That is correct, that is correct.
Awesome. What are some other modifications you make to the gearbox when installing your DSG?
MOSFET is a must. Full metal piston teeth, good shimming, and you must take off the correct amount of teeth off your piston, and those are the bare basics. After pouring my heart into this budget Sportline beginner build, I came across some really neat stuff that I didn't realise SRC did. So they had a really cool cylinder head in there, which I decided instead of putting in the SHS one, it's a double O-ring, it does the job just fine, we'll keep it on. As for the nozzle, I was thinking about changing the SHS one, but the stock one already had an O-ring on the inside of it, so I kept those two bits. I wanted to keep the original gearbox in there, so we radiused the edges of where the cylinder fits in, that way it could disperse energy better so they wouldn't crack straight away. We also then swapped out completely the piston and piston head to the SHS 14 tooth lightweight piston. It's just pretty lightweight for you. I had to grind off, I think 8 teeth off it, therefore I would have just the amount of teeth I needed it for the dual sector gear, so there wasn't any premature engagement. And the piston head I used was the Lonix aluminium piston head. I just have really good experience with it, so I kept it in there. The spring guide we swapped out from the standard V3 just plastic spring guide to the ball bearing SHS one that's metal. Just put a wee bit of Loctite around where the threads are so it doesn't come loose when I'm shooting it because it will rattle itself to death otherwise. The trigger unit, I was tossing up whether I use a traditional MOSFET where I wire up the remote lines to the trigger and the other power line straight to the motor, but instead I opted for the Aster because I wanted to play around with it a bit more, learn the equipment a wee bit more, and the tunability came in really handy with the active breakers, real ergonomic system, and again, big fan. I also got stickers for it, which we will find on the tagger itself. Going down to the motor, I wasn't sure if the stock SRC motor could handle pulling back the M130 spring we swapped in there. So we swapped it out for the short type 2.5K efferent motor. Big fan of these motors, real torquey. I've thrown them at a lot of things and they just keep pumping, so big fan. We did go from, we tried both a 7.4 volt battery and the 11.1. It just spanned so quickly on that 11.1. In the future I might cut down the tappet plate a bit more. The tappet plate I used was the one that came with the dual sector gear by SHS. It was already cut to size. I might even trim it down a bit more to help with that timing, and I might also take a coil off the tappet plate spring to help feed that baby. But considering it took me a day to build this, I'm very pleased with the results. It's really snappy on semi and no feel in my vicinity. It allows auto to such extent, so we will be sticking with the semi-locked option. The mag you see in the video is a Garda Blue Box mag. I was just laying around and it just fed BBs quicker than the original factory high cap mag. I swapped out the original gear ratios with the Lonix, I think they're called original type or original ratio gears. They're really strong gears, which I was a big fan of, and they just meshed the SHS dual sector gear perfectly. And while we were on that, we had to modify the SHS lightweight 14 tooth piston. It was lifting a little bit in the SRC gearbox when it was hitting the teeth on the dual sector gear, so we just had to take a wee bit bit of material away from that to make it nice and smooth, to keep it just, you know, running nice and slippery. Externally, you can't perfect perfection. So I chucked a Seymour on it because it passed the test of does a Seymour look good on it? It was yes, so a Seymour went on it. I put my only Asta sticker on it because I've never received one before, so big fan. And again, yeah, this mag was just laying around and it pushes BBs in quicker than the high cap mag, so I just think as a you know, it looks good. As for the hop up and barrel, I changed to the Maple Leaf gas blowback 290mm barrel. It was a Crazy Jet barrel. You can put a hot shot bucking on it, so you can put in AEGs, so that really helps with availability and, you know, what you have on tap. And I'm really happy about how it just goes straight. I just like how it goes straight. I suppose every Airsofter has a similar thing, but no, nice accurate barrel. The hop up's mean, it's a 50-degree hot shot hop up. Stock hop unit though. I just wanted to keep it the same. I don't know if the SRC hop ups are off spec, but I just didn't take the chance and it did the job just fine. Hi team, we have recently completed our SRC AK build. A lot of cool things we crammed in here. We'll just do the chrono test to see where it's at and we'll go from there. Let's check it out. Okay, with that. Want to do a bit of water? A lot of, just a bit of water. Alright team, we just changed over to our 3-cell LiPo to see how much red fire we can get out of this thing.